Infinity Nation and beyond, we look at the status of your digital landscape and how it affects the growth and profitability of your business. On the show, we will be talking to business leads, partners in the e-commerce world, as well as some of our own specialist team to give you actionable insights and find solutions to help you on your growth journey today. We will consider new ideas, stretch our mindsets beyond the status quo, and in the process discover how to gain an edge on the competition and drive some great results.
Hi Rebecca, how are you doing?
Very well indeed. How are you?
Good. Yeah, good, thank you. Welcome to today's podcast,
Thank you for having me.
where I think we're going to talk about post-purchase emails. And after we met, I just suddenly thought your idea is so simple. Why don't more of us do it? So I just love to debate that. I think really just why don't we love our customers once they've hit and paid for a product?
Yep.
I think this, for me, was a stark reality in our debate when we met a few weeks ago.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, well, thank you for having me for starters. And yeah, I think our conversation a good couple of weeks ago was all around, end of the day, brands are so focused on getting the customer, acquiring the customer, showing all the fancy stuff in the showroom, you know what I mean? And then how do you keep that customer coming back? And the reality is, how do you tailor your post-purchase sale or anything after the buy button, as we call it? How do you continually keep talking to your customers once they've made a purchase? Just because they've made a purchase once doesn't mean that's it. They could come back 4 weeks later, 6 months later. How do you make that experience what I call white glove from end to end? And yeah, very true. Why do not more people do this? Because it's a lost revenue stream that you're missing out of when you think you finished, you kind of wash your hands of it, and then you go back to the top of the funnel again and you go back to the acquisition model, which is more expensive than retaining a customer who spends more from you longer term.
And I think only becoming more expensive.
100%.
Right? Cost per clicks are going up, cost per impression is going up, Facebook, Google, whoever, all of those costs are on the increase, which I think as business owners, our cost of acquiring a customer or CAC figure is always a key metric we need to keep an eye on. And as you say, I could probably justify to the board, look, we need to spend more money or CAC has gone higher if I can show lifetime value is growing, because then the ratio works and it's investing now to get better reward over the mid to long term.
Exactly.
But I always think it's an interesting point, as you say, and I think sometimes it's how businesses remunerate or target people is all about acquisition rather than actually sweating the asset that you've already invested in growing. And so, people come and say, well, I need to grow turnover, so I need to find more new traffic. And it's almost like, well, do you? Have you got great new customers? If they're like you or they're loyal, how do we get them to buy more often? And actually, then my initial investment of cost of that acquisition is. So for me, it continues to be a surprise of how unloved I think CRO is to a degree, but also this building this rapport and this loyalty post initial purchase. And actually, what's the yield on that? Potentially, it's far greater.
100%. And I think, customers, there's just so much choice out there now, whether you're looking for a car, a piece of furniture, an item of clothing, there's too much selection. And you scroll for hours trying to find a particular, but what do you automatically, your brain defaults back to something where you've had a good experience, whether that the delivery was on time, whether you were communicated around that delivery, was it free delivery? Was it easy returns? Was the website easy to use? Was the checkout easy? Did it flow? Did you have to put in all your bank details, or was it very much touch screen and all these different things? Where these are all the things we think about. But then again, that's all well and good if you've got all of that fancy stuff sorted. But what about when I physically handed over my money to the brand? Now what? How are you going to tell me, instead of palming me off to your third-party couriers, where technically they don't really care about you as a consumer? You're a number, you're a consignee number from a DC to a home address. That's all you are to a DHL or an Hermes or whoever. That's it. And the brand is pretty much going, Thanks for your 200 quid. Hopefully you'll come back and spend another £200 in a couple of weeks. Well, probably not, because I've had a really bad experience. I'm going to spend that elsewhere at your competitor's place.
Yeah. So, how did you come to sort of starting and building
Yeah, for
Promise?
sure.
Promise.
So my background is very much within the e-commerce world and final mile. So I actually spent a considerable lot of my time there at a company called Amazon. So I worked in a very customer centric business and lots of very customer centric departments about building what is right for the future, whether it's now, 3 years, 5 years, and so forth. And I was in sort of several departments in Amazon for just over 8 years. So for me, customer experience is very much ingrained in me as a person. My expectations are very high in anything I put my hands to. And then I moved into sort of several startups from a final mile world and actually worked at one of my biggest competitors based out in San Francisco for just shy of 3 years. And we were talking to lots of retailers, and I've seen that customer experience is just getting further and further up the map from a development perspective, from a budget perspective, even from job titles. People are seen as customer experience managers. Couple of years ago that didn't exist in sort of the world of retail. So for me, when I sort of entered into this space, I saw still a very big gap coming from one of my biggest competitors, coming from Amazon, and putting all of that knowledge and experience in one pot for me to create a product that we took to market in sort of late 2020 and started talking to lots of different retailers around, what are you doing around customer experience, whether that's from customer service right through to order tracking, right through to Wismo, where is my order, right through to, retention and loyalty. We want to help, we want to support, and we want to come in and show you the product we've built and the product we're going to continue to build over the coming years ahead.
Yeah, and I think your point just a minute ago, perhaps, is like I've done some research and I've found some new shorts which I quite liked, but the company's based in Sweden, which is fine. It wasn't really a hassle. It was free delivery if you ordered over a certain amount of money, and it was slick. It was slick to use the site. It was effortless to use, but it wasn't a cheap pair of shorts. And as you say, my experience was the brand experience is great. The site was great. The PDP page was great. The checkout was easy. The information, but I hit, here's my card, pay, and now I was just
That's it.
DHL. So basically, it emailed me here, and now I'm just in a
Yep.
DHL interface, and I have no real brand affinity at that point. I'm now going, oh, well, whether this is
Yep.
great or not is really if DHL
Yep.
is good or not. And to be fair, it was a good service. I mean, they arrived in 48,
Yep.
72 hours from Sweden, and it updated me on the thing. But I think when we spoke last, it was just the stark reality of that could be so easily still keeping me on the brand website, still making it in the right tone of voice, look and
Yep.
feel, upselling me.
Absolutely, because you're engaged.
So yeah, I think that was like,
You're engaged to that brand. You've bought into the brand. You've parted with your money, and the most emotional email that you can send out to your customers is about that order. It's the most highly engaged click through to an email. So why would you not build content into that from a product perspective, business perspective, whatever? Because your customer's already wanting to see where their parcel is. And again, we go back to the beginning. We're fickle. We want to go, oh, okay, maybe we should get the T-shirt to match the swimming shorts now. Oh, I'll go back and remake a repurchase. But going via the DHL route, all DHL was telling you was, here's your parcel. Here's what to expect. Thank you very much. See you in 2 days. Oh, wow. What a great experience.
so that's the normal process. And so, in your experience at Amazon and other places, so that highlighted to you that just where that experience was at the next level in this more engaged in brand experience, you saw exponential improvement in repeat
Yeah, so
purchase,
we
or
kind of measure everything sort of cross sort of segments. So we always break it down from an operational perspective. So where can we save money overall from a customer service? If a delivery is going wrong, what do? We pick up the phone to the customer service team. We ask where our product is. That is a cost to the bottom line of any business size, of having somebody manually manning the phones from a customer service. Then we go to like the other opposite side around how do we increase customer sort of click-through rates back to the website? How do we increase further engagement on particular products? How do we build products and merchandise campaigns into the tracking page? So again, pushing further products that we're pushing out on the PDP, on the sort of product description page, or from the website itself from a new banner campaign. Let's bring all of that in to the tracking page. So whilst you're trying to get customers to buy from the website, get customers to buy from the tracking page as well. Then you've got 2 revenue streams coming through, not just one, which is your website. So we measure it in different ways, from operational right through to retention, loyalty, net promoter, trust pilot. And then we bring all that in as a KPI and say, right, we want to measure that with you, work with us. And then we will be constantly measuring you as a brand to make sure you are a customer centric business, of where you want to be now and also the future.
And I think the other thing is that, so the extra revenue opportunities, I think, fantastic, but also a lot of businesses now are investing a lot in aspirational content. And instantly you could just start that journey, couldn't it? Like, so these were outdoor shorts, but it's just like, oh, here's a recent exploration that someone went on wearing these shorts, or here's why we designed or developed them, and you could just instantly sort of get that person more engaged or more on board with the brand. Or I remember way back when I was at Rafa, that was one of the things that was so good in terms of the amount of content that was created. It just made it aspirational. People open it, go, oh, I want to get out my bike, I want to go for a ride, I want to. So I think that's really key.
For sure.
And then, so since being live, what stats have you been able to prove in terms of a normal process handed off to DHL customers? Is like, have you been able to understand the real impact on the customer and net benefit?
Yeah, for sure. So we've seen sort of customer service calls decrease by pretty much up to 50%. So we've been able to save businesses bottom line straight away just by, stopping those calls coming into the business, because of unclear messaging, unclear emails. We're not sending them notifications. And we've been able to do that across the board, across many businesses, whether it's an enterprise brand or a small to medium who may have a one man behind the phone manning it. That's difficult as a business is growing. It's very, very difficult. So for us, we have saved a lot of money within that Wismo perspective. But also when brands are wanting to monitor their net promoter, they've got a certain score that they want to get to for the year, or they've got a 6 month sort of figure they need to get to. We come in and say, right, okay, currently you're tracking at 6.3, but you want to get to 8.2. How do we get to that? And that is up because we're delivering a better post-purchase sale experience. Is it because we're making it more easy for them to track their experience through mobile? We're pushing information to them without the customer having to find the information themselves. I hate having to try and figure out where I need to find a number. Can I just automatically call it without having to then come off my phone, dial another number? So it's all these different things that we factor in. But overall, we want to put the product into the business for them to see a reward within like 4 weeks, like straight away. If we don't see that in 4 weeks,
wow,
like something's going wrong in the business, then so we are very, very cautious of what we come in to do and say, this is where we want to deliver this for your business. You need to be on board this journey, because we can come in and deliver everything, but if your team are not enabling these things and delivering on what you need to do, it's a strong partnership you have to have with every retail brand you sell this product to.
It's absolutely agreed. That's our sort of mantra. It's a partnership,
100%.
not a supplier relationship. I think it's,
and everybody, because it just doesn't touch e-com. It touches e-com, operationals, logistics, supply chain, customer experience, customer service. It's not just, it's an e-com's position, it's an e-com's final answer. No, because this is going to benefit multiple parts. So we all need to be on the same hymn sheet.
Yeah. Yes. And I suppose at different levels of organisation sizes, different challenges in terms of getting that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, sort of going back to the customer and the customer journey, playing devil's advocate, if you don't know this wonderful world of uh, improved post-purchase
Yeah.
tracking is available, does it really frustrate them? And or I suppose how do we set this as the benchmark of the next normal? This is the
Yeah,
standard.
I think as consumers are ever changing, and we've changed our buying habits a lot, especially since the last couple of years, where I personally don't go walking around the shopping centres anymore. It's just not something I enjoy doing, because I find, well,
Wait for the queue
exactly.
to
And
get
then you're parking, then it's
there.
busy, and then it's not in stock, or you can't find someone to ask a question. And then you end up getting frustrated, and you end up going, I'll just buy it online, I'll go back home and I'll do it there. So people's mindsets are
Yeah,
changing now. People are moving more towards the digital world, but also, it's all about how customers want more from the brand. Gone are the days you can go in and think that even a standard delivery is acceptable. People want next day. People want immediately. People want to be told what's going on. People want to know, even around sustainability, they want to know, am I doing good? Am I, because you're a sustainable brand, are you using a sustainable delivery partner? So it's all these different things that where consumers' minds have changed, buying habits have changed. And I think because the choice has grown more and more, if a customer has one bad experience, that's it. They don't go back again. They'll go somewhere else to find the white t-shirt or the Ralph Lauren t-shirt. I won't go to Ralph Lauren directly. I'll just go to Matches because I know I can get it next day for free, versus going to Ralph Lauren and paying
yeah.
$5.95 the next day delivery. So it's all of these things now we factor in because people like Amazon, in a way, have made it easy for you. It's a 3-click
Yeah.
sort of journey. You click the product, you click it in your basket, you click confirm. That's it. You're done.
I think that one of the real powers on Amazon though is they almost own a lot of the
Correct.
delivery network,
Yeah.
so they
Yeah.
control the standard.
Yeah.
And I think for most of the retailers we're probably thinking about today, when if they're selling it not via Amazon, they're reliant on couriers. And as we were saying earlier, we can invest all the money and cost of acquiring a customer. We can do a fantastic job getting the right caliber of people there. Get the product development team and evolution team built great products, made great products, checkout process is slick. But if it gets chucked over the fence, our view on the business is
Yeah.
impeded because of
Yeah.
the last mile element. And so I think I've had this debate with finance directors and stuff often in terms of like, but Hermes is £1 cheaper than DPD, for example. And it's just like, so okay, so yes, you
Yeah.
save £1 for that, but what's the challenge and the number of customer
Yeah.
service calls, questions, queries, as you were saying earlier, that come from Hermes, and what's the lifetime value of a
Saving
customer
your
that's been
£1.
delivered via Hermes? And quickly you go, well, I saved £1 here, but I wasted £5 in customer service extra time, so
Yeah.
net I lost four. Plus the customers never come
Exactly.
back. So it's a really tricky one when people are trying to look at bottom lines that I can
Yeah.
save £1 an order. Something
Yeah.
that's 70, 100,
Yeah.
100 plus £1,000 a year.
Yeah.
It looks appealing, but as you say, no, it's very hard to monitor and measure the impact of a negative delivery.
100%. And I think, some brands are, we've talked to brands and you can clearly see that customer experience is just not on their agenda. And you kind of think we could talk about it over and over again. If you're not on it and you're not on the journey and you don't believe in it, we're flogging a dead horse. So let's just walk away and do you know what I mean? And then you walk into some businesses, like you look at the likes of Lululemon or Nike or Patagonia and, the big brands, they've got great customer experience because part of their core value is around what does the customer want? What does the customer want? What do they need? What do they need to see? What's the future of what they need to see? And they're always innovating versus some brands who are like, no, we're good. We get some nice sales coming in. It's like, yeah, but you're looking after them. Are you really nurturing? Do you know your customers' buying personas? No. Okay. How do you monitor that then? How do you know the next piece of clothing is what your customers want? That next collection you're going to drop, is that what your customers
Yeah.
need? Because if it's not, they'll go to somebody else similar to you and buy that collection because they've learned more about their customers versus you. And there's still some brands in that space, and it's sometimes very hard. You want to bang your head against the wall thinking, come on, guys. It's so vital to get this right. But if they're not open to it, it's sometimes very hard to convert them.
Do you think this is just because in recent years it's been easy to sell online, but I think we're seeing it sort of in the last, or maybe coming up towards 12 months now, but definitely in the last 4 or 5 months, it's been tougher. As you say, retail high streets are back open. People are
Yeah.
choosing when
Yeah.
to
No,
spend.
for sure.
But that's sort of that merchandising, that engaging, that customer
Yeah.
discussion piece. I don't know, I feel, and this might sound really critical, but I just feel we've lost the edge online a little bit in terms of merchandising the site, making it compelling, almost like you saying, what does the customer need? Weather's nice outside today. Do we
Yep.
change it? Uh, whereas if you go back to in the old store days, you're like, right, I need to change shop window. Weather's going to look good for the next week. Need to bring these things forward. Put that, I just feel, yeah, that art of selling or trading a little bit online, and whether that's getting the right people in the front door, but also the experience post
Yeah.
them leaving the
Yeah.
door
Absolutely.
needs more
I've
life.
sat in many sort of meetings with luxury brands who are, selling high-end luxury goods, whether that's a £10,000 handbag or all these very high AOV. And they have these lovely stores along Bond Street, and you walk in and you've got the doorman who opens the door. You've got the person putting the white gloves on to show you the product. And you're like, oh, you just feel like, you feel like royalty in a store like that on Bond Street. But then it might be something like, oh, well, this product isn't available. And some salespeople go, but it is available online. So we can buy it online. We can get it shipped to the store, or we can get it shipped to your house. And you automatically think, oh, well, I'll just go home and buy it online, and I'll get it shipped to my door, and it'll be with me in 3 days. But then the customer's perception of, well, that now should be the same experience online than it was to offline. And there isn't. There's a huge gap. So I've had the whole white glove. I've had the door open for me. I've had the door closed to me. I've had a glass of champagne. Do you know what I mean? I've had the whole experience. I've come home. I've got my laptop. I've sat at my living room, and I've gone, right, I'm going to have a look at that handbag now and buy it online. I've got my credit card. I then have to pay £4.95 for my delivery. Why? You're already taking £5,000 off me anyway. So why am I doing that? Okay, we'll go with it. £5.95 it is. And then you put in your credit card details, and then it just gets lost. It falls off a cliff. And then you normally get something from UPS, because it tends to be UPS in the luxury world. And it's an old brown and white, horrible look and feel. That is not what I got 2 days ago on your Bond Street store. And they're like, oh, well, we try and mirror it. No, there's no mirroring at all. It's completely opposite journeys.
And but on your £5.95 delivery piece, if there was a reason why it was it's to cover the security, or you wouldn't mind, but I think it's just how well is that positioned?
Exactly.
What's it building into the
Like,
price?
yeah. It still astonishes me how these luxury brands will go, oh, buy this and spend X amount of hundreds of pounds. Oh, and then it's £7.95 delivery. What? Like Reese does that. And I've bought many things from them over the time, and I still pay for delivery. Not standard, not next day, standard. And it's DHL Express, and it's £5.95.
Yeah.
You've just taken 250 quid from me. Like, come on, guys. But you want it, and you're like, I really want that. I know it'll fit well, it'll wash well, it'll do all these things I want, but I've just got to pay £5.95. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. Frustrating. Are there any downsides to the Primis solution?
From my perspective, no. There's always incremental upsides, from revenue to loyalty to customer retention. There's no downsides to this, and this is what frustrates me as well. Being, the founder of the company, it's kind of like, why isn't this put on more and more agendas across every brand? Because it would benefit everybody. And that's my frustration in that. Because as soon as you talk about it, it's a haha moment, like when we met. Oh, that's a simple concept. Why is no one doing it?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It was just like,
Yeah.
was it flashes the
Yeah.
blinding obvious FBOs, and it's like,
Yeah.
what? Oh yeah. So yeah, absolutely. And in terms of technically, is there dev
No, so
cost
a lot of
involved
our
in getting a
businesses and
solution
a
in
lot of our
place? Or?
brands are tend to be on Shopify, the usual Shopify, Magento, Salesforce, all the ones we've done the integrations into. We've already done a lot of the legwork on the back end from a logistics perspective as well. So we've done all of that in connecting the dots to the couriers and to the services. So it's all live information when we're presenting that branded tracking. So we've done a lot of the legwork. It's just getting into the door, talking about where their challenges are, where they want to get better, what do they need to do more. And then we kind of open it up and say, right, we suggest doing it down this route. This will be how your emails will look. These are how the email templates will work. And then we just start connecting the dots in the background. So a lot of the lifting and shifting sits with us. They just need to go, yep, we've got budget. We'd love to do this. Let's rock and roll. Some retailers overcomplicate it and think, oh, it's 6 months of development. No, the development's done. We just need to turn it on. We just need you to work with us from a
Yeah,
template perspective. That's it. We're done. So, yeah.
cool. Sounds good. If people want to find out more
Yeah.
about the solution, you
So we've obviously got our
best ways to go
website,
about that.
which is premise.cx or www.premise.cx. Obviously, we've got our LinkedIn page as well. And obviously, all of our team are on there from a LinkedIn perspective and profile. But yeah, our website is probably the best route through. And there also is an inquiry page on there as well. You
Brilliant,
too.
Rebecca. It's been great chatting to you again. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your insight and experience in post-purchase
Perfect.
white
That's a
glove
good way to
service. I
end
think I
it.
want to call it now. The new
Thanks for
standard.
having me. You
Brilliant.
too.
Good,
Take
good
care.
to catch
Bye
up, and we'll speak
now.
with you soon.
See you.
Thanks, Rebecca.